Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sukandas here, and I'm coming back to you almost after a gap of 3 weeks. The last time I was here when I had received the first copy of my book, and that was a pretty exciting day. And you must have seen how excited I was to receive the first ever copy of my first ever book as a first time author. And the first time author gets to complete 1 month of his book, and it has been worth a journey to share with you. And in this 1 month, my book has been sold almost more than 500 copies in India and several copies outside as well. And I cannot have enough words to thank all of you, all my wonderful readers, all my friends, all my teachers, all my well wishers out there who have supported this humble venture of mine. More important than the figures are actually the kind of thoughts, the kind of feedback, the kind of reception the book has got, and its content, the kind of appreciation its content has got in terms of its language, in terms of its information, and as well as the kind of interest, the kind of engaging, kind of uh, engaging reading it gives uh, to the readers who have really had a sense of accepting the book in its entirety. And that's really a sense of fulfillment that gives a sense of accomplishment for me. I don't think that there can be a bigger feeling for a first time author. But more than that, what I would really like to share all of with all of you is that mm, like it's not easy being an author and a published author, especially when you're in a job which is a full-time job, which is a very demanding job. For me, someone like me who has been a full-time nephrologist, being in charge of a huge dialysis unit and a transplant unit, and where we do almost 4 to 5 transplants every month and a lot of transplant workups, unlike several people who have a desk job or who have the option of switching off the phones after 5 p.m. every day, and we can who can take weekends off, don't just stop working Friday evening and come back to work on Monday. For me, or for millions of healthcare workers, doctors out there, that's not an option, and we keep working day in and day out. It's not that we want to brag about it, but that's the nature of our duty, and we are quite proud about it. But for me, to find out time out of such a hectic schedule, to find out time to write a book, to assemble a manuscript. I mean, when I look back at the journey, it almost looks like, I mean, it was a terrific, it gives a terrific sense of accomplishment. I don't think it can always be replicated so easily. That was a kind of single-minded devotion. There was a kind of single-minded, monomaniacal focus or pursuit of a goal. I can only relate to the kind of devotion, the kind of attention I gave for this project. Almost it was equivalent to when I used to read for my entrance examinations, for my MD entrance examinations, or for my MBBS entrance examinations. For writing this book at this stage of a professional career, when we are like fairly busy professionals, it was quite an interesting thing. But this is also the time, this is also something I would like to share with you. This is the reason why I'm here, that many of you might be harboring a dream to come up with your own books. You may be part-time writers, you may be writing out of hobby, still having a dream within you to come up with a full-fledged book. So it always seems impossible unless it's done. I think Mandela had said it. But the moment you get yourself on a task, you get to realize that how true it has been. Unless and until you hit on the road, you will never learn riding. And that is why I say, unless you jump into the water, you will never learn swimming. So start doing the process, start getting into it, keep doing it in small increments every day, so that the small increments add on to real substantial gain in course of time. And By the time you have realized that the small increments have given rise to a substantial amount of work, and from then on you can build on to something that can be given the shape of a real book. So you really need to focus. Time, of course, is a constraint. I don't think many of you would be as busy as I am, or uh, people like me. But still, if you can focus, and focus on your pursuit of whatever thing you have decided to write, then I think you can achieve certain amount of success. Coming to think about this book, well, this is a book about the pandemic, a disrupted world. As you know, a mysterious virus has shattered humanity, and a never-ending pandemic. The question here was, of course, can we ever win this war? So, have we won this war? How far have we come in our war against the virus? The virus, to a large extent, seems like to have gone endemic these days. The cases, after coming down, have started gradually rising, but thankfully the symptoms are not that severe. However, as I have often warned in my book earlier, here too I want to remind you that COVID-19 is not common cold. Do not ever take it so casually that we might have to face another wave, another catastrophe, because we cannot afford another wave of COVID. So we have to be very, very careful, watchful. That is first thing. Second thing, talking about war. The pandemic has been compared throughout this pandemic. The pandemic has been compared to a war. The use of the word war has been used as a metaphor for the pandemic, but unfortunately a real war is going on at this point of time, and that's the war in Ukraine, and the war is still not over. And I have warned in this book that the war in Ukraine has the ability to take the level of disruption to all new levels. So we all need to watch. There are so many other disrupting events taking place all over the world, the kind of arms race that is going in between superpowers. uh, the point is that when the entire humanity as a whole should be fighting against a common enemy in the pandemic, if they are lost fighting each other, then of course the hope for humanity seems to be diminishing. Yet we have to I cannot finish this talk on a negative note. I want to finish on a high. I want to finish today's discussion on a high point, and that should be that let there be some silver lining out of this entire dark cloud. And that silver lining should be that let this gravest of grave crisis give us an opportunity to redeem ourselves, so that we can all we have endured and survived this pandemic. So let's all move on with the best lessons learned from this pandemic. Let's enjoy in each and every moment. Let's value our lives and value the lives of every other living human being on this planet. It's only when we value the lives of human beings that can sort things out. The whole thing of wars and everything is that human beings have started taking other humans' lives so easily and so lightly. And here we in the medical profession are spending hours and hours. Entire volumes of our work are devoted towards saving one single life, and people are destroying thousands of lives with single click of a button. Or I mean, that's really unfortunate that how devastating, how horrendous wars can be. Even and how difficult unmanaged pandemics can be. So let's all pledge together that we will do our best to value human life, to value humanity, and not allow another catastrophic event to disrupt our lives, disrupt this world. Let this pandemic be, let this disruption be the last one we have had to witness. So I think that's all for today. Take care. Take care, all of you. I'll see you soon.